Hi, my name is Daniel Melum. This is Project 3.5, Surface Mount Soldering Practice. This is the SMD practice board, which consists of a practice area for large parts, small parts, and the central circuit. The circuit is a simple 555 timer connected to a 4017 decade counter. This LED represents the clock, and this is just the decade counter counting around. There are 4 LEDs in the corners that are supposed to turn on and show the divided by 10 output of the 4017, but they seem to not work despite the main counter working. There are 2 main SMTs, which are surface mount technologies, when it comes to soldering a board like this: hand soldering with a fine tip solder pen and hot air soldering. Hot air soldering, which I used for most of these small parts and some of these larger parts, involves putting solder paste onto a pad. So for example, if I take this out, you have, these are pads, all these servo stuff. So you put solder paste onto that, then you put the component onto that solder paste, and then you put hot air over it, which melts the solder, forming a joint. Using a fine tip pen, which is the second option, involves you soldering one pad. So for example, you take one of these resistors, you solder one side of these resistors first, make sure that's stabilized, and then afterwards you place it in, it's soldered, you solder the other pad, and that's how you would create those connections. An additional item that's useful when doing surface mount soldering is flux, and what flux does is that it improves the wetness of solder, which means it will more readily spread over the pads, which reduces the risk of bridging. And a place where I found this extremely useful was when I was soldering these chips, as I used the flux to help reflow my solder after making a bridge. My name is Daniel Melum, and thank you for listening.